Hello everybody! Since there's a Splatoon 3 Direct coming this Wednesday, I decided to share some weapon concepts I've made for Splatoon 3. I made these for fun, so I don't have any stats in mind for them. With that said, let's get right into it. First up, the Rollonium Roller. This roller uses a cylinder of Rollonium instead of a paint roller. It has a standard horizontal flick in rolling mode, but the vertical flick is replaced with a horizontal flick that throws the Rollonium forwards. The Rollonium paints as it rolls until it hits a wall or enemy, but will slow down and explode if nothing is in its path. The damage of the Rollonium will decrease the farther it rolls, including the ending explosion. How do I use my weapon after I yeet my main source of painted damage, you ask? The top of the roller will collapse together to form a wheel. Rolling and flicking with the wheel is much faster, deals less damage overall, and paints a smaller area when rolling, but the Rollonium will regenerate after a couple seconds. This roller could have a higher maximum rolling speed or a faster rolling speed ramp up to incentivize rolling. The Squeegee. This sub-weapon can stick to walls and travels in a zigzag pattern, but can be destroyed by enemies. I have two ideas for how it could work. First idea. Instead of sucking up ink, it paints over paintable surfaces until it explodes. If an enemy is near, it will chase it with increased speed until it explodes. It could paint over non-inkable surfaces too, but the ink would vanish in a few seconds. Second idea. The Squeegee sucks up enemy ink and shoots it back out like a sprinkler. It could still track enemies but not speed up to chase them. The Squeegee could run for a while, but would slow down and sprinkle less the longer it's active. Alternatively, it could have a short timer before it breaks, but two of them can be active at a time. Since this is more of a painting tool than a weapon, it could give you more special charge than other subs, but only when sucking up enemy ink. The Grappling. This sub-weapon has a lot of potential as a movement tool, since you can use it to scale non-inkable walls and cross gaps too big to jump. I have two ideas for this one as well. First idea. You can throw the grappling anywhere, but it'll break if there's a pitfall beneath it. It hovers above the ground low enough to easily be shot by teammates and enemies. It has two uses, so it can be used as a quick escape for you and a teammate. It can be shot down by enemies, so use it wisely. Second idea. When deployed, the grappling flies directly upwards and hovers around in a circle, but will avoid pitfalls. It hovers higher off the ground and is more difficult to shoot, but has three uses. There would have to be some testing to make sure people can't do a little trolling with this sub, like getting out of bounds or sending their team into a pit. The Mist Kettle. This could either be a sub or a special, as its ability could be too strong or too weak in certain situations. The Mist Kettle is a modified transport kettle from Hero Mode. When thrown, it'll whistle before blowing out a large cloud of inky mist. The mist will be contained in a sphere, like toxic mist. When inside the sphere, your vision and the enemy's vision will be obscured. The level of obscurity will be similar to Salmon Run's fog event. The mist will clear after a few seconds. It's basically a big smoke grenade, but it could deal some tick damage to keep enemies from hiding in it. The 8 Bowler. The 8 Bowler is a slosher class weapon, but a little funny. It shoots out a miniature 8-ball that paints and bounces off walls, like a curling bomb. It shrinks the longer it rolls and eventually disappears. I thought of a mechanic where enemies can reflect the 8-ball, but it might not be fun for the 8-Bowler user. The Stamp Mallet. This weapon is a new class and is basically a miniaturized Ultra Stamp. Holding ZR will repeatedly stamp the hammer into the ground as you run forwards. Tapping ZR will swing the hammer left and right, flinging ink forwards like a brush. Pressing ZR while in the air will do an explosive hammer slam into the ground, with similar power and range to a suction bomb. The Octo Gauntlet. This is another new class, based off of DJ Octavio's Octobot King. This weapon is worn like boxing gloves. When fired, it shoots a fist forwards and leaves a trail of ink behind it. If it hits a wall, the floor, or an enemy, it will produce an explosion and spring back to you. Holding ZR will charge the fists and shoot them with increased range, damage, and explosion radius at the cost of projectile speed. Holding ZR and R will switch to a defensive mode and form a protective bubble around you. The bubble will break and have to regenerate if you get shot too much though. Lastly, the Sponge Mine. This sub uses a short-range laser to detect enemies and blast a cone of ink at them. When deployed on inked ground, it will soak up the ink around it and increase its blasting range. When deployed on dry ground, the sponge will be dry, so you have to shoot it to increase its power. You can trigger your own Sponge Mine. It takes half a second to explode, so you can splat an enemy that's chasing you. If you don't want to trigger it, you can easily jump over the laser. And that concludes my list of weapon concepts for Splatoon 3. This is the first video I've scripted and put actual effort into, so I hope you all enjoyed it. If you want me to know what you think of these concepts, discuss it in the comments. See you all later.